0.01 seconds. That is the difference between winning a medal, a gold medal, and not winning a gold medal. So if you think about it, it really is the smallest of changes that has the biggest impact. When we talk about sports, we talk about medals, we talk about trophies, we talk about the glory associated with that. But what else is it that comes in the way? What is it that makes champions who we are? We talk about effort. We talk about the number of hours this person has trained, since what age they've been training, the coaching that they've undergone, the physiotherapy, the harsh diets that they would have to go through. But we still don't understand the length and breadth. What about the mindset? Fact that we all know that the champions are made by the right mindset. We talk about it. There's so much about having a positive attitude, embracing challenge. You hear your commentaries when you watch a sport match, right? People will talk about how well you're coping with pressure. So we talk about it. But what are we doing to actually train our mind, to condition our mind, to be able to deal with the pressures that come our way, to be able to deal with the wins and losses that comes our way? And it's the same whether you look at athletes, whether you look at CEOs of companies, whether you look at performing arts, whether you look at students also. And it's something that at the end of the day is universal for success, no matter what field you're in. Now, why are we talking about sports here today? We have lots of school students here. I'm sure you all have more important things on your mind, your exams, your date sheets, entrance tests, and things like that. The simplest, most basic answer, I would say, health. Think about it. Would you rather be spending hours in a gym, running on a treadmill, looking at absolutely nothing at the wall? Or would you rather be out with your friends, playing a game of football, having fun? Or in these cases, sitting on your mobile phones and playing virtual football, whatever that might be, right? So it's not just about a healthy life. Sports is also something that's integral for a happy life, right? But again, unfortunately, our education system, we need a curriculum for happiness. Otherwise, it's not something that we embrace. So let's talk about success. Let's talk about how sports prepares us for life. Think about a doctor. The stamina that you need to stand for a surgery for 8 hours. The kind of precision you need to be able to do that surgery. Think about a pilot, right? The kind of hand-eye coordination you need, the reaction time you need, the divided attention to focus on so many other things. Reminds us of football a little bit. Think about CEOs, and we have lots of them today, right? The ability to make decisions, tough decisions in high-pressure moments and keep calm. Is this why so many CEOs enjoy playing golf as well? I wonder. Like, okay, right. So, it's not just about the medals that you get. It's not just about the score that you have. It's about life skills, and where sports becomes integral. When life skills actually come out of your textbooks and something you give exams for, it is something that's tangible, right? So think about it. Every day, you win or you lose if you play a match. But more importantly, whether you win or lose, you have another match to play the next way, where the score starts from 0 again. It teaches you to set goals. Sometimes you achieve those goals, sometimes you don't achieve those goals, but it forces you to challenge yourself. It builds resilience. It helps you deal with the pressure of having so many expectations on you, your family, your friends, your school, your country. The grit, the determination, waking up at 5 a.m. every morning because you have a goal that something is important to you, making sure that you're able to manage your studies at the same time, that they don't suffer. You're able to have all of that discipline to lift all those heavy weights, to run, to push yourself, to also be emotional well-being. All of our success is something that can be tied to sports. And who knows, we might also have our next Olympic champion sitting somewhere here, gets inspired by this conversation. So let's talk a little bit about the right mental condition, right? Like I told you, we talk about it, but is it something that we can train? And I'm here to tell you, yes, it's something that we can actually learn. It's not something we're born with. People who are mentally tough are not born mentally tough. It's something that you learn. It's something that you train. So look at some of these players you watch on television. Some of them will have a few quirks. Right? They'll bounce the ball a certain number of times. They'll enter the court only stepping with their left foot first. They'll adjust certain things, wear only a certain color. We may think that these are silly quirks, these are superstitions that have no real bearing. But what this is doing is actually something called zoning in, being in the zone, a state of heightened focus where your mind and your body are both in the same place, and you're able to deal with all the distractions and focus on what it is that you want to do. Now, why is, it sounds fairly easy, but why is this something that's so important? Why is it that something that we struggle with? So think of all of you as students here, right? And we use exams because that's what gets everyone's attention. So think about how well you're able to focus when you study. What are the kind of distractions that come in your mind? First of all, it's boring. Sometimes you don't want to study. So having that dedication to sit down and study in the first place. And just when you've been about to sit down, your phone notification buzzes. And it's the first thing that you need to check. And not only do you need to check it, you need to reply to it. Another distraction, something that keeps us away from what we're doing. When you enter the exam hall, sometimes you notice that your heart rate is beating a little bit, your hands are trembling. Even though you've studied what you set out to do, you may sometimes blank out. You may feel a lot of that pressure. Now, this is an exam that comes once every few months, and then you have those board exams that come once or twice in your lifetime. Now, let's look at an athlete. Athletes are people who train for maybe 10, 15 years for that one shot that comes in their life. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you may have it twice, but at a gap of every 4 years. So you train for this. And once you're there, for the few people who actually make it, there are now the expectations of 1 billion people on it. And mind you, we only switch on our televisions towards sports in that 4 years once, right? The rest of the time, sports doesn't exist for us, right? But suddenly, we have expectations of 1 billion people on us. If we do something well, it's played over and over. If we do something wrong, our mistakes are also played over and over. We're told that this is a make or break moment for our life that will determine the trajectory of our life forever. And then, again, you have the physiological changes. Your heart rate starts increasing, your hands start trembling, your breathing kind of changes. I don't know about everyone else. It happens to me while I'm standing here right now, right? And then we try too hard. And then, because we hit the ball too hard, it goes out of bounds instead. We try to make the right decisions, so we don't end up making any decisions. And those are some of the mistakes that tend to happen. And that's what explains a world-class footballer misses a penalty shootout in a championship final. Look at the number of wide balls and no balls that are bowled in the last over of a match and wonder why that's happening. And look at this and then you'll understand what it is that actually happens. So let's talk about how we can actually train the mind. Step 1, goal setting. The right goal that you set towards the key. Ask most players what their goal is and they'll tell you it's a gold medal. The problem is that if you have one eye on the scoreboard, you're not actually looking at the ball coming your way. So you have chances of actually hitting that ball go far down. Right? Results are something that are in the future, not in our control. Right? So making such goals is always going to get us into a problem. Being a champion is not about being the best. It's about being better. So if you look at the Olympic motto, right? Citius, Altius, Fortius, now Permuta. Stronger, higher, faster, not strongest, highest, fastest, right? It has to be a process goal. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you can achieve in this time? At the same time, we hear people talk about, aim for the stars, things like that. A slightly different approach. I would say aim for 70%, right? 70% difficulty. Because I want you all to win more often. I want you all to be able to push yourself. But if you push yourself that much and you keep pushing yourself, you will achieve victory more often. You will challenge yourself, but you will win. And you will want to set higher and higher and higher goals every single time. Now let's look at the right mindset, right? It's important for us to be able to enjoy the challenges that come our way. Think about it. If you're playing a really simple game, you're going to get bored of it. As a 10th grader, if you start solving class 3 math questions, you'll get bored of it. Because things that we find too easy are also things that we get bored of. So when we hear about, oh, that's a difficult question paper, or oh, that was a difficult draw, I wish I was playing against an easier player, what are you going to get out of that? You're not going to learn anything new. You're not going to challenge yourself. Even if you win, you probably won't have the same kind of excitement. So get that mindset, which is of a challenge, to enjoy the tasks, enjoy the difficulties that come your way, because those are the ones that are the greatest learning experiences and that also make the best stories at the end of the day. Now let's talk a little bit about focus. A lot of students will talk about how they get distracted very easily, right? But remember, focus is like a spotlight and you can switch it to whatever you want. Right? So is it on your books or is it on the mobile phone that's lying there? That's a choice that you have to make, right? It's also a spotlight that you will switch on and switch off whenever you want. So a golfer can't concentrate for 5 hours straight. That's not possible. A test match, you can't concentrate for 5 days. What do you need to do? You need to focus on that one shot. So you actually need to focus for just about 30 seconds. And once that shot is over, irrespective of the result, you switch off, walk a little bit, take a deep breath, and that's a switch on and switch off that you can do to actually improve your focus. It's also a good idea to practice the kind of pressure that you're going to experience. Let's face it, nothing in life is going to prepare you for your board exam pressure. Nothing in life prepares us for our Olympic Games pressure. But what we can do is put ourselves into pressure situations again and again. So whether it's in school, coming up on stage, whether it's practicing self-tests again and again, practice them, but practice them very. It's not visualizing yourself standing on the podium. It's not about visualizing yourself getting 100 on 100. It's about visualizing yourself writing all the answers down. Also the problems. What happens if I forget a question? Doesn't matter. I'll move on to the next one I'm going to answer. What we tell ourselves at that point is going to be important. So to the visualization, add a little self-talk. But don't say, you better not fail. Don't fail. Don't do this. If I tell you, don't think about a pink elephant wearing sunglasses, what's going to happen, right? For the rest of the evening, you're going to think about a pink elephant wearing sunglasses, right? So don't tell yourself, don't fail. Tell yourself, do this well, right? That's the kind of self-talk. That's a slight shift that we want you to make. At the same time, it's also actually possible to channelize our energy, right, a little bit. Like I mentioned at the start, you may feel butterflies in your stomach, your heart rate may increase, your breathing may change. The control to that is actually something that lies with us. So if I want to increase my energy, what do? I breathe faster. I talk louder, higher pitch. I move around, listen to fast-paced music, and I'm going to feel more energetic. Something students can use when you wake up in the mornings, right? If you don't feel like being too sleepy. At the same time, if I want to calm down, what do? I reduce my speed of talking, lower my pitch, take deeper breaths with a longer exhalation, do some muscle relaxation, listen to some softer music, and I'm actually able to control my energy levels. And it's the same with channeling my emotions also. It's normal to feel sad, it's normal to feel angry, it's normal to feel disappointed, right? If you get a bad call that a referee makes, is some fight happens with your friend, it's normal, right? But what matters is what you do with that emotion that you experience. So if you experience anger because your exam didn't go well, right? Do you want to sulk, say, I'm never going to study this subject again, the teacher hates me? Or will you say, okay, there's something I need to learn. There's something I need to do differently here. What is it? So that I can move forward, right? This is just a small toolkit of skills I'm telling you, and there's a whole bucket of these. But what's important is, this is not something that we're born with. This is a toolkit. I remember when I used to play sports, when I used to study, whenever I used to be stressed, people used to tell me, just relax. The most frustrating thing that you can hear when you're anxious or stressed, right? If you could, you would. But how do you do it? And now I want to tell you that there are specific techniques, small techniques that you can use to actually make these changes. One last thing, so far I've spoken about, sports, life, each of us, our trajectory of success. But I also want to talk about sports as a way of life, because I feel like more than individuals, sports is also about our culture, and it can have such an impact on our psychological, psychosocial well-being of our society. Sport is a tool of societal change. An athlete who does well can put their village on the world map and the kind of development that comes with it. It's also something that can take off so much pressure from the education system where focus is on marks, because if Let's say you're not good at math, but you're a fantastic runner. Is that an option that you have? So each person can be allowed to explore what it is that their talents are. And that's the kind of social change that sport can have as well. And honestly, the fault is ours, right? We don't encourage sports. We don't talk about sports. We don't play sports. I mean, if any adults here, when was the last time you played a sport? I don't even want to ask because it's going to be embarrassing, frankly, right? And we talk about sports again, except cricket, once every 4 years, right? We don't play, we don't watch, we don't talk. We don't follow role models who are athletes. We don't talk about life skills as much in our schools. In our training academies of sports, we don't include mental conditioning as a key aspect of it, right? So what I want to tell you all today, when you go home in this evening, pick up a racket, whichever one you want, right? Instead of going for a movie or going for a lunch or picking up your phones to play a game, book a court with your family or your friends. Go out there and play. If you want a healthy life, pick up a racket. If you want a happy life, pick up a racket. If you want to be successful in whatever you want to do, pick up a racket. If you want our country to grow, pick up a racket. And if you want India to finally get the kind of medals that we want at the 2032 Olympic Games, pick up that racket today. And that's the butterfly effect. Thank you.